I want to thank everybody for coming. If you guys want to gather around a little bit, we're going to go ahead and get started. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm Dennis Richardson, a state legislator, and we'd like to begin with a presentation of coins. And this is a special presentation by the VFW, and it's a special coins for World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. All of these theaters of service Leonard DeWitt has served our nation in, and the presentation will be given by Francis E. Betts, who's a post commander.
Stand right here. He's got a presentation for you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Francis Betts. I'm the commander of Post 4617, and I have a son who served 3 tours in Iraq as a Black Hawk pilot, and this coin project got started because of his 3 tours in Iraq. On September 17th, 2011, we presented 250 coins to his entire battalion down in Anaheim, California. And since then, I've done over 500 Iraq coins, 500 Vietnam coins, and we've done many Iraq coins, and we've worked into Korea and World War II. So with your indulgence, I'm going to present a coin to Leonard. First with World War II. Leonard, can I have your right hand, please? Hold on to each one. Hold your hand in the handshake, please.
Oh, thank you.
And can you hold on to that?
Yep.
Okay, Leonard, my name is Frank Betts. First of all, we were Americans before we were soldiers. As an American, I say to you, welcome home to our great country. I want to thank you for your service and sacrifice. On the front of this coin, it says, welcome home, World War II veteran. On the back of the coin, it says, thank you for your service and sacrifice. On the bottom of the coin are 3 words that we hold dear in our hearts as veterans: duty, honor, country. Now, this coin is a permanent reminder of those words I've spoken to you, and I hope you'll pass it on to our fellow veterans. Now, as a Vietnam vet and a brother veteran, I say to you, welcome home. God bless you.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
May I give you a little hug?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Welcome home. Janet, you have one of the capsules? Okay. And the World War II and the Korean veterans get a little coin capsule to go with it.
But I'll just hold it for you later because you got 2 more coming.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the second one is for Korea. You give your right hand again.
Oh,
We can go through this 3 times, so be patient. Okay. First of all, we're Americans before we were soldiers. As a fellow American, I say to you, thank you for your service and sacrifice. On the front of the coin, it says, welcome home, Korean War veteran. On the back of the coin, it says, thank you for your service and sacrifice, and 3 words we hold dear in our hearts: duty, honor, country. Now, you've already heard what I said before, so I'm going to go right to it. As a Vietnam vet and a brother veteran, I say, welcome home. Thank you for your service in Korea. God bless you.
thank you. God bless you.
One more hug?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll hold that coin for you.
He's going to put
I'll
that.
go ahead and put that in.
Okay. And last but not least, my favorite coin, Vietnam.
Thank you.
All right, as fellow veteran, I say to you, welcome home to our great country. I want to thank you for your service and sacrifice. This coin is different than all the others because on the front of it, it says, welcome home Vietnam Veterans Day, March 30th. We've waited a long time to hear that as Vietnam vets. On the back of the coin, it says, thank you for your service and sacrifice, and 3 words we'll always hold dear in our hearts: duty, honor, country. Now, as a Vietnam vet and your brother veteran, I say to you, welcome home, Leonard. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
God bless you.
Thank you. And we'll take care of this.
All right, then we'll take you back to your chair.
Thank you.
The pretty women come later, so don't tell your wife, okay?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
What a very special day. Thank you guys all for coming and honoring our heroes, our real heroes. I'm Chris McLaren. I'm a co-founder of Real Heroes. It's a nonprofit that we started when we first heard about Leonard DeWitt's story at the Capitol. And I want to have Jameson and Derry and Ian and Jill all stand up. This event would not happen without them. And I get the honor of actually talking and saying a little bit of something on their behalf, so bear with me. I'm not texting. You know, when I first met Leonard DeWitt, I felt this sense of responsibility to do something. We're all stewards of history and have a responsibility to preserve the past for the sake of our future. Freedom is not something to be taken lightly. Freedom has a cost. The blood, sweat, and tears that have been shed for our sake must be honored. That is what Real Heroes is all about. Real Heroes, REAL stands for Recognizing Excellence in Leadership. Heroes. They're around all over, and they're stories that have not been told. This is a fundraiser for a statue for Leonard DeWitt and for the 41st that have fought so hard to save our country from tyranny in World War II. So that's what this event's all about. Thank you guys for coming. I have Jim here, who's Jim Widener, our representative, that's here to facilitate the rest of the ceremony, and just an honor for him to be here, and I'm just blessed that you guys are all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Colton, if you could come up here and join me. Before we kick this off, we have a special presentation or singing of the national anthem by Colton here. If you would join me, and we have a giant flag that was erected that if we had something to put it up with at every event we went to, I would be honored to have it everywhere. But if you would take off your hats, and Colton will sing the national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Colton. It's nice when we have a lot of our youngsters that are out there singing the national anthem for us and bringing themselves forward. We appreciate it. So, want to start off. We have a few guest speakers here to talk about Leonard today, and I have one retired Colonel Foray. I would like him just to come up and give a moment just to talk about whatever he wants to. He has no prepared speech, so we're leaving it in his ballpark just to talk about what he has going on at the state level and everything. So, Colonel.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the servicemen out here and the ladies. I see quite an assortment. I'm Air. I see Army, Navy, Marine. This is just fantastic to see all branches of the service represented here. But you know what we often forget, besides the servicemen and their veterans, are the families. And as a member of the National Guard, it's very, very important when we deploy and everything we do that we're supported by our family members. So how about a round of applause for all the family members? My thanks for the invitation, Mr. DeWitt. I appreciate being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Next, we were actually hoping we would be able to get Judge Vance Day here, but he wasn't able to make it with us today. But one of the things we wanted him to talk about was a Veterans Court. It's a piece of legislation that we moved last session, and basically it's encouraging our counties to adopt what we call a Veterans Court, because we have a lot of young service members that are coming back, struggling with a lot of issues from being overseas, being in the combat situations and things like that. And one of the things they've done in Marion County, and that Judge Vance Day has been very instrumental in, is the Veterans Court docket. And that's where they actually bring retired or older vets in to come alongside some of these younger guys that are struggling and going through issues and help them get back on the right track. And they're there basically a battle buddy acting beside them, helping them deal with the issues that they're facing. Because a lot of these young vets suffering from PTSD, different things, and they'll just snap and they don't know why. And we can't be treating them or handle them like we do with our regular court docket. So we're trying to get where we have a single judge who handles this. He knows what's going on, knows the family members. He's connected with some of the older veterans who can come in alongside and help the younger vets get back into society and being productive again. So I wish Judge Day would have been able to make it with us today, because what he's done has been a true blessing, and he's a hero in his own mind, or, well, not in his own mind, but in my mind. He might be in his mind too, so, and he's not here to defend himself. But it was an honor just to see what he had going on. I had my staff, they went and spent a day just watching his court, how it operated and everything, and we're looking at implementing that in every county across the state. So with that, I would like to introduce actually, let me go on since we don't have that. Jerry Wilson. He is a service officer for Yamhill, veteran service officer for Yamhill County. The Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs was created by the Oregon Legislature in 1945 to assist in providing resources for World War II veterans. Its commitment service continues to this day. Jerry Wilson is the veteran service officer for Yamhill County. Jerry assists veterans and their families in helping them acquire homeownership opportunities and helping them establish financial security. The resources provided by the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs are an invaluable asset to the area of education benefits and with loans and financial services. If any veteran has any issues, we know that Jerry Wilson has their back. Jerry?
Thank you for inviting me for this glorious occasion. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions or rumors because of what their neighbors or their friends told them about VA benefits and how to attain VA benefits. And I tell everyone who comes into my office with these preconceived notions that, you know, this is the way it is, and they hopefully get a better understanding, and they leave my office and can spread the words about the true facts about VA benefits. One of the most exciting things I've found since being in Yamhill County is the community and the resources and the people. I have to say, Yamhill County people are one of the greatest communities for supporting veterans. No matter where I go, no matter who I call upon, they're always there and willing to help. Because a lot of people don't realize that veterans not only need VA benefits, there's a gap between VA benefits and a need right now. If a person comes into my office and say, hey, Jerry, I need some food, I can't call the VA up and say, hey, this guy needs some food. It's not going to happen. But I can pick up the phone, I can call a faith-based organization, I can call the VFW, the American Legion, or DAV, and say, hey, we need to help this vet. They'd say, Jerry, send him on down. One of the greatest stories I think I've seen in action here. Recently, they just had the Veterans Summit down at Grand Ronde by the Grand Ronde, Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde, put on a summit that was nationwide, the first one that they have done to roll right into the powwow. So they invited me to be part of their planning committee, which I was greatly glad to do. And one of the things that happened was I was standing there and this guy came up to me and he says, hey, I need a motorized scooter. And I said, well, there's two ways you can go. We can either try to go through the VA or I can try to call American Legion because I know they have scooters. So he said, okay. So the next day he came and he said, I'm going down to pick up the scooter. And I said, well, have you called them? He said, no. I said, well, let's call them and find out because I hate for you to go all the way down to McMinnville and there's no scooter. So I called up the American Legion here in Mac and they said, sorry, Jerry, we don't have no more. So I said, wait a minute, let me try VFW. So I called VFW. VFW said, I know we got some, but I don't know the condition of the batteries. So I said, okay, give me the name and a number. I give the veteran the name and the number. 2 hours later, he comes up and he says, thank you very much. And I turn around, there's he is on a motorized scooter. That to me really made me feel good. I'd just like to say that if you have any questions about VA benefits, please give me a call. There's organizations out here that are charging veterans and their survivals to do work that I do for free. I will not charge you one dime. I can't charge you any money. So please do not pay money to do something that I can do for free. And if you have any questions or concern or you want to help out or volunteer, please give me a call and I'll be glad to put you on my list or point you in a direction where you might be able to assist with groups of stuff. One last thing, one of the things that really makes me laugh, every time someone comes into my office, they look at my pictures and they say, oh, you in Air Force? I say, yeah. Were you a pilot? And I'm like, no, the Air Force is not all about pilots, you know? And that's about any service. There's a lot more jobs in service that people don't realize that men and women do. And some of them are not glorious and some of them are not highlighted in the films or whatever, but they do their job and they do it well. And without those people doing those, as I always say, an airplane ain't no good unless it can get off the ground. And it can't get off the ground unless somebody's working hard to make sure it does. So once again, have any questions, please give me a call. I'm located right over here on 627 Northeast Evans, right across from the community center. Thank you, and congratulations to Leonard DeWitt.
You know, before we go on, I'd like to have Representative Richardson come up here and join me. It's an honor for him to travel up here with us today. The presentation that they did for Leonard, I'd like him to explain a little bit because we have a lot of veterans of war here. We want to do this for every veteran that is here. He can explain, and after we finish with the presentation and after the howitzer salute, we would like every veteran to go by and be presented with a coin as well. So
That's right. We won't be doing that right now, but we'll be doing it a little bit later. These coins are the VFW's way and our local leaders' way to honor those who have served since World War II in combat theaters. And I was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam up in Chu Lai, and so I'm grateful that they go to this effort to make sure that veterans of all the foreign wars are appreciated for the service that they've rendered. It also shows the relevance of the VFW as a support and a place where veterans can go and be fellowshipped at times when they feel so alone, and that happens many times. Anyway, we're grateful for the work you're doing, and all vets who've served in these foreign arenas. After this presentation is finished, let's come down to this table here and receive a coin. Thank you.
With that, it's time to move on to Leonard himself and how basically this whole story began. And right now I'm going to introduce to you Lieutenant Colonel Hamill. It was great to work with Lieutenant Colonel Hamill during the past legislative session in the passage of HJM 17. As a military historian, her work in detailing the 41st Sunset Division's actions during World War II in the documentary The Jungleers, she was the first to discover that Leonard DeWitt was supposed to have received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Her work has been the motivation to correct the wrong and the story of Leonard's recent reclaim of fame that has seen him testify before the legislative committees and meet with the governor on several occasions, all started with an Oregonian article about Leonard DeWitt, thanks to Colonel Alicia Hamill. Lieutenant Colonel Alicia Hamill joined the ROTC at Portland State University and has been actively serving her country and the state for over 30 years. Let's give a huge round of applause for Lieutenant Colonel Hamill.
Thanks. Like you said, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Alicia Hamill. I've been in the Oregon National Guard for quite a few years. I was in the Army Reserve before that. But I started really getting involved with history during the Lewis and Clark Bicentennial. I started teaching Lewis and Clark to kids. We'd go out to schools and we'd teach. And at the end of that, we felt that we should keep the program going, but we needed to expand it. So we wanted to really talk about Oregon's role in World War II. What did Oregon really do during World War II? Well, as a National Guardsman, we're particularly interested in what the Oregon National Guard did during World War II, and we're particularly proud of a unit called the 41st Infantry Division, which was considered the best National Guard infantry division in the United States prior to World War II. They had gone to a couple of competitions. They had beat every infantry division, so I think they were truly the best infantry division across all active duty and National Guard divisions. Because of that, President Roosevelt felt that we should probably be prepared to fight in case the United States should have to go to war. And so he calls up the 41st Infantry Division on September 16th, 1940. They are activated for 1 year. They are supposed to go up to Fort Lewis to train, be prepared, and then on December 7th, 1941, the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor. 41st Infantry Division is then sent to the Oregon and Washington coastline because us as Americans felt strongly that the Japanese were not going to stay at Pearl Harbor. They were not going to go back to Japan. They were going to continue on, and they were going to land on the west coast of the United States. We were very scared of that, and so the 41st Infantry Division is sent to the coastline to protect us. The first casualty of 41st Infantry Division actually happens at a place at the Longview Bridge. When one of the 41sters decided to go out that day and night and have a good time and tried to sneak back in to the barracks that night. One of the sentries thought he was a Japanese, and he shot him. It is not a fatal wound. He does recover, and he does deploy with the 41st Infantry Division. When the 41st Infantry Division is gathered back up again, sent down to San Francisco, and in some cases over to the East Coast, and they are sent to Australia. They are the first American division to arrive in Australia. The Australians are already being attacked by the Japanese. 41st comes to save the day, and the Americans have come into Australia, and they start training in Australia. They are then sent, they're fighting under General MacArthur. They are sent into New Guinea. They fight through the Philippines and on to occupation duty in the Hiroshima district of Japan. I did a documentary about this. It should be on OPB in November, so keep your televisions synced for that. It's a really great history of what Oregon did. 41st Infantry Division was an Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana National Guard Infantry Division, headquartered in Portland, Oregon. So it is still today an Oregon National Guard Infantry Brigade that still carries the battle streamers of 41st Infantry Division. Now, I got involved in this documentary. I started going out and I started interviewing all of these 41st Infantry Division veterans. I missed you over here. Somehow. And so I started interviewing all of these guys, and they would tell me, well, now you've interviewed me, perhaps you should go interview this guy, and then go interview this guy. And the more guys that I started interviewing, the more I started thinking this really needs to be a documentary, because this is such an incredible story. And I was interviewing them, and I couldn't really get it finished, so I just kept interviewing more people. And then because of that fact I was interviewing so many 41st Infantry Division veterans, I got really involved with the 41st Infantry Division Association. So one day they called me and they said, you know, I think we figured out where all the Distinguished Service Cross recipients from 41st Infantry Division are, or where they lived, except for 2 of them. We can't find these 2. And I said, okay, well, let me look. And so I did the what you're supposed to do, or what we all do today. I Googled Leonard DeWitt, and it said that he lived in Arizona. I said, okay. And then I Googled, it went a little bit farther, and he said he lived in Ashland. It's like, okay, he's about the right age. See, it could be. And then when I went in and looked a little bit farther, it said that he'd moved to McMinnville. So he'd moved a few times in that Google search. So I said, you know what? I'll just call the phone number and see. So I called the phone number and I said, and Leonard answered, and I said, is this the Leonard DeWitt who got a Distinguished Service Cross in World War II? And he said, yep. And I was like, whoo, I was so excited. It was, as a historian, I am the command historian for the Oregon National Guard. It is like finding gold to find somebody with that story, particularly about something that you're studying really intensely at that time. So my peer, Warren Aney, who is also, he is my command historian who mentors me. He's part of the Oregon State Defense Force right now. He and I went running out to Leonard's house as quickly as possible, and later Joanne, who is Leonard's wife, said that she looked me up on, she Googled me on to find out if it was really okay that I come into their house and interview Leonard. So we get out there. Leonard has this most amazing story, and I feel that I need to go ahead and interview him and get his whole life story, because if you want a real picture of American life from the time that Leonard was born until now, you got to talk to Leonard. He has the most amazing stories, and I really loved talking to him. Finding out when he was 4 years old, he was reading the newspaper to this old Indian guy in Osage, Oklahoma. Yeah. Reading the newspaper to the guy. Because the guy would pay him an extra penny if he would read him the newspaper. He also made it into California just in time for a big earthquake, or big flood. Earthquake, and then came out to Oregon. He was walking into Bend one day, and he heard rifles firing. And he always really loved, I'm going to tell stories about you, Leonard. He didn't pay me enough to not tell all the stories. He was walking into Bend, and he heard some rifles firing, and he said, you know, I think I'm going to check that out. So he wandered over and found I Company 162nd Oregon National Guard unit out there doing their drill. And they invited him to go ahead and fire the rifles a couple of times, and he was hooked. He's like, okay, I'm joining this. And he just signed right up. joined, and then 41st Infantry Division gets activated, and he's sent off to fight with 41st Infantry Division. Now, I want to tell this real quick story about Leonard's Distinguished Service Cross and why it was put in for a Medal of Honor to begin with. He was put in for a Medal of Honor. It made it all the way up to General MacArthur. It sat on General MacArthur's desk for almost 2 years. And then when the War Department said, you need to send us something, he finally said, no, I'm not going to make it a Medal of Honor. I'm not going to approve that. I'm going to downgrade it to a Distinguished Service Cross, and I'm going to forward that to the War Department. So that's why Leonard ended up with the Distinguished Service Cross instead of a Medal of Honor. We're trying hard to get that Medal of Honor upgraded again. But the story is, in one of Leonard's unit's very first battles, they were on the top of a ridge, or on top of a hill up above a little town called Boise. Now, they're supposed to hold the top of this hill, and this is one of their very first battles. Now, as a soldier, you don't really know what you're going to do when people start shooting at you. You don't know if that guy who's all big and tough, if he's really going to be all big and tough when somebody starts shooting at him, or if he's just going to run away. Is that little guy with the glasses who kind of is really quiet in the back corner, is he going to be scared? Is he going to be the one that's going to run away? We don't know until something actually really starts happening. So at the top of this hill, I Company is supposed to hold the perimeter of the top of this hill. In the middle of the night, there are some Japanese that start coming up the ravine on the side of on one side of the perimeter. Now, Leonard is the communications sergeant. He is supposed to be inside the perimeter. He is safe because he's not on the outside. But he volunteers to go and take extra ammunition to the guys on the side of the perimeter that are getting attacked by the Japanese. As he's going over there, the guys in those foxholes are departing the foxholes. I'm not telling the real reason why. They're departing the foxholes. So Leonard is over there by himself, facing an entire Japanese unit trying to come up the ravine and to penetrate I Company's perimeter in the middle of the night. So Leonard stands at the top of the ravine and he fires his Tommy gun until it runs out of ammunition. He fires his BAR until that runs out of ammunition. He then takes an Australian grenade. Now, the Australian grenades are considered better than the American grenades because the Australian grenades have a better, they send out more deadly shrapnel. There, that's the word, the shrapnel, when they explode. So he throws this Australian grenade. Well, the Japanese have been fighting against the Americans for a while now, and against the Australians, so they know the distinctive click of an Australian grenade, so they all take cover. There is a very loud Japanese down in the ravine who continues to extort the Japanese to get to the top of this ravine. So Leonard comes up with this great idea. He takes his second Australian grenade and he throws it, and during the explosion of the second grenade, he throws the third grenade so you can't hear the click of the third grenade. He doesn't hear this very loud Japanese anymore. A Japanese grenade is thrown at him. Now, a Japanese grenade, when it is thrown in the middle of the night, has a very distinctive sparkle as it goes through the air. He sees it and he does what any infantryman does. He hits the ground and he rolls. Unfortunately, he rolls into the ravine. He lands between a couple of Japanese soldiers, and they don't really realize he is there yet, though he realizes he is there. And he takes his bayonet and he sticks one of them, and he takes his helmet and he hits the other one. They both protest loudly and go back down to the bottom of the ravine. Leonard scrambles back up to the top of the ravine, and in frustration, he takes his helmet and he throws it into the ravine. The Japanese seem to feel this is a satchel charge and they depart the area. Leonard DeWitt has held off an entire Japanese attack into the perimeter of his company by himself, and he is put in for a Medal of Honor. The next morning, Leonard gets the opportunity to go get a shower and some clean clothes. He jumps at the opportunity and he departs the area. The rest of his unit goes down to see what happened, and they find evidence of at least 20 casualties and Leonard's helmet in the ravine. His company commander does put him in for a Medal of Honor. Like I said, it goes up through until it gets to General MacArthur. 41st Infantry Division was one of the longest deployed units during World War II. They got 0 Medal of Honors. They got 17 or 18 Distinguished Service Crosses. 32nd Infantry Division, no, they got 25 Distinguished Service Crosses. 32nd Infantry Division, who was a sister unit to them, who fought alongside them under General MacArthur through the rest of World War II, in which Leonard DeWitt ends up going to 32nd Infantry Division after this event at the top when he becomes an officer. 32nd Infantry Division gets between 17 and 18 Medal of Honors and over 157 Distinguished Service Crosses. There is something wrong with what happened in World War II, and we really hope that we'll be able to get Leonard's Medal of Honor, not only for Leonard, but for the 41st Infantry Division and for the Oregon National Guard, which has not had a Medal of Honor awarded to us since the Spanish-American War. So we really want to make sure that this happens. And I really appreciate Representative Widener to push this legislation through, to push through from that angle, and I am still pushing through the Army angles to see if we can get this awarded. So thank you very much for coming out today. Leonard is a most amazing person. I'm really thrilled that he is going to be honored in McMinnville. Oregon National Guard is very thrilled that he's going to be honored here, and we appreciate your support for us, and we do really feel whenever you guys say thank you for your service, we feel truly honored that you feel that way. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming out.
It's been a pleasure working with Lieutenant Colonel Hamill. And the way this all started, I had no idea who Leonard was. So we basically were raising funds for a World War II memorial because Oregon does not have a World War II memorial. We have for everything else, and we're one of only 2 states who does not have a World War II memorial on its Capitol grounds. And it was in an event for that, for some legislation that we passed and everything, where I actually got to meet Leonard for the first time because he was on the board for the World War II memorial. They announce him, introduce him, and it's like, he's from McMinnville. How do I not know him? And he's called down there, because usually they reach out to us and let us know about these things. And I went up and shook his hand, and Joanne, his wife, realized these are 2 incredible people. I mean, from the moment you first meet them, you know these are true, loving, caring people, and it was an honor for me to meet them that day. And then after talking with Colonel Hamill, finding out what was going on, it's like, you know what, we need to fix this, and we need to start working on this, because if you're in the military, it shouldn't matter if you're full-time, part-time. When we go to battle, we battle together. And just want to share one thing. It has been said that a veteran, whether active duty, retired National Guard, or reserve, is someone who at one point in their life signed a blank check made payable to the United States of America for the amount of up to and including my life. That is an honor, and there are ways that many people in this country who no longer understand what that honor is. But there are a lot of us, and in this crowd, a lot of people who do understand that because you have signed that check. So I personally have not been active duty. My oldest son was in the service, and he's done 3 deployments in Iraq, so when things were going on there. I've seen the effects of what it has on an individual when you're in those circumstances. So, and for the men and women that do 1, 2, 3 deployments, whether you're overseas, whether you're working here protecting, you honor your country, you honor every individual, every American in the United States. And that's what this whole thing is about, to make sure we're honoring our veterans that are all deserving and making sure that each veteran is treated equal no matter what their service was. So I'm honored and humbled to call Leonard DeWitt my friend after all of this. It's been a pleasure working with Leonard. He's one tough guy, keeping a grueling pace, TV interviews, committee testimonies, and attending so many events like this. We probably overwhelmed him with the things that we've been doing, but he is the only man I've seen share the story that Lieutenant Colonel Hamill just shared in a committee hearing in the state of Oregon, where the committee was packed this one unique day because they were trying to shut down poker rooms, so we had lots of individuals there that cared about poker. But he started his story, and you could see there's little trepidation from some of the committee members, and then they were all just pulled into it. And when he finished, he's the only man I've seen receive a standing ovation after committee testimony. That's the kind of man Leonard is. His wife, Joanne, it has been an honor to get to know her. She's the most loving, caring person, just always, she stays on top of us to make sure we get things done and drives us, but she appreciates everything that's done and will help anybody she can. And right now, I have a little presentation that I have for Leonard. Is what I have right here is House Joint Memorial 17 that is basically the signed copy from Governor John Kitzhaber. And John Kitzhaber writes on this, Lieutenant Colonel Leonard DeWitt, the pride of Oregon and the 41st Infantry Brigade, John C. Kitzhaber. The thing that was unique about this, we had a signing ceremony, and usually House Joint Memorials aren't signed by the governor. This was an honor to get the governor to actually hold an event, and I can tell you there might have been a little arm twisting going on to get him to do it, but after he read it and he saw and understood who Leonard was, he scheduled the event for us, and he also signed the Veterans Court docket for us as well that day. So there were 2 great things that we got done for our veterans and also for Leonard that day. And Leonard, you deserve this, and we will continue on. At this point, I'm going to turn things over to Sergeant Holmes because we want to honor you with the howitzer salute. If none of you have experienced a howitzer going off, on the first one, you may want to cover your ears, even though it is back a ways from us. A howitzer is quite loud, and you young boys that are out there in the crowd, and men who have not experienced this, after I heard one the first time go off, I realized I need one of these at home. With that, Sergeant Holmes.
Okay, I'm not used to speaking in front of public, so I apologize right now. Okay, for everybody here, all right, this is going to be incredibly loud because of the buildings will have an echo, all right? So what I've done with my guys is I'm going to call the commands from up here. So you will see when I drop my arm, that's when it's going to get incredibly loud. So for those of you who have hearing, okay, for little kids, I don't want messy chairs or anything like this, okay? And Colonel DeWitt, this is for you. Red legs. Stand by. Fire. Stand by. Fire. Who wants one now? Yeah. Stand by. Fire.
So, at this point, I'd like everybody to enjoy today, and the reason we picked this day for this event, it's to recognize the spirit of 45. I want you to enjoy. We have a silent auction. We're in the process right now of raising money. That's what this event is, to erect a statue in honor of Leonard DeWitt that will be placed here in McMinnville. I would like to recognize our artist who will be doing this, Chad. You want to come forward and say a few things about it?
Hi, my name is Chad Caswell. I'll be sculpting the statue for Leonard DeWitt. The goal here is to just capture all of his personality and his story just in a sculpture. I can just say I'm extremely honored to be able to sculpt this, and I'm so glad for what these people are trying to do for Leonard. Thank you.
And next, I'd like to thank the grocery outlet, our local Elks, the McMinnville Armory, Captain Derek Hodgkins, Chief Benjamin Hussey, and all the Oregon National Guard, Kelly McDonald, and everyone here at the Grain Station Brewworks. Jim Bracketer, Willamette Valley Medical Center, Drew Burdick, the Willamette Valley Service Team, and Frank and Messina, who are the swing band. Our special guest speaker, Jill Addison, or our special guest, I guess Jill doesn't like to speak. But Jill has been a big driver in this locally. Chris McLaren, my staff, Jameson, Derry, Ian, and all the businesses that gave contributions to our silent auction, and everybody else. Anything you can do to help us get to the $20,000 mark would be greatly appreciated. We're hoping to get started on this quite soon. Chad here, he gave you a little bit saying he's honored to sculpt this. His father has done military statues, and we're blessed to have him. His father's going to be helping him, and he's doing it very reasonable, because if his father did it, it would cost us probably about $100,000. So, but this is something that will be his staple for his great career that's to come, sculpting for our military and other people as well. With that, enjoy the root beer floats. Enjoy the spirit of 45. It will always be this date in August, or I think it's second weekend of August every year, that we're on the second Sunday, where we're going to recognize our World War II generation, the greatest generation to ever live on the face of this country. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your interest and for being here. And I hope the rest of the program goes as well as the first part has. I think you're really going to enjoy yourself. And I'd like to thank that artillery outfit for giving me a salute. Thank you very much.
with that, enjoy the food, beer, floats, and any contributions you would like to make. I think Jill we have places set up where people can make contributions for the statue and everything else. That's how Real Heroes got started, was to raise funds for this and recognizing heroes in Yamhill County. So thank you.